I'm an American standing in Moscow, Russia at the site of the terror attack that happened less than 100 hours ago. And I'm here with my friend Eddie and with Natalia. Eddie is a retired police officer. He's going to give us an update on what's going on. Natalia works with BRICS. She's a friend of the show and she'll be our Russian perspective for this video. And we just wanted to come see it for ourselves and walk around and show you a little bit of the aftermath and show you how Russians are dealing with this terrible event.
It happened before, it I guess will happen again sometime somewhere. It's like, you know, to be struck with the lightning. You can't be insured from that. But because we're angry and the only good thing that those four were caught almost in one piece.
What do you think, like you, your friends, your family, like people you work with, would they want all immigrants will like be kicked out of Russia?
All illegal immigrants maybe.
Illegal
And maybe also
those who criminals?
officials who take bribes and let them in without permission, so they together with illegals.
Yeah, but those who just come here and work and behaving by the law, it's
no problem.
Are you against them?
No, it's no problem. If they obey the law, what's the matter?
Russian guy yesterday trying to be not nice to some foreigner, but there were several Russians around them who stopped him immediately and stopped apologizing to this foreigner. So
yeah, well, people are angry. I can understand him maybe.
maybe one of the only reasons why they chose Tajiks was to incite this racial stuff and try to break Russia down, and start this, international fight within Russia, but they did not succeed.
Looks like we have found one of the memorials here. We got off the metro and followed the crowd to this memorial. I guess this is the back of the mall or the building. And we've got candles and just crowds of people here. And police, of course, for security. It's weird, it's emotional being here, for sure. Natalia bought these flowers for us to lay at this memorial. So I'm not Russian, Eddie's not Russian, you are. So what do you think of this, Natalia, being here as a Russian person?
Try not to cry again. By the way, many people are asking why Russians are smiling in situations like this. It's the way we operate, how we try to overcome. Because throughout the years we had to face so many atrocities that, we kind of developed this defense mechanism to smile. So what I'm thinking, there are so many flowers, people keep coming, bringing new flowers, and many people are bringing toys, and not just some toys. There's bears, and bear is a Russian spirit animal, and there were also a lot of drawings clearly made by kids, and in these drawings there were also bears, so Russian spirits staying strong. Actually, all parts of the country are united. There were so many notes from various places in Russia, not only European part, but everywhere. Also from Dagestan, from from republics in Caucasus, from Azerbaijan, and it's great to see that the whole country is united. If someone was going for, trying to bring us down, to divide Russia, no. If anything, it just made us stronger and more united than ever. There are so many youngsters here, and they're bringing flowers, they're crying. I guess those who are 20 years old, 16 years old, must be the first for them, because there was some terrorist attacks in metro in the beginning of the 2000s, but these guys, I think they were still really young. They don't really remember this. But this kind of event, it's so not common for Russia. It's been so safe here for, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years.
So it looks like they have gates and police keeping us away from the actual site, of the incident. So I recognize, you can see where it says Crocus, or the letters there, and you can see the fire damage. So basically they've set up this memorial area, and then looks like this little gated walkway that we can walk along, and people can pay their respects and see, where this happened.
So for those of you who may not know what has happened, on Friday, March 22nd, 4 gunmen walked into this building right over here. There was a concert by the Russian band Picnic. It was about to start about 8 p.m. These 4 armed men went in and started shooting indiscriminately at unarmed civilians. As of today, there were 137 people who were killed either by gunshot wounds or a fire. As you can see, the top of Crocus City Center, the roof has collapsed due to a fire. These 4 individuals also set off some incendiary devices and caused a massive fire.
Some people say that the terrorists, now a lot of videos have been exposed, that the terrorists behaved in a very professional way. And I've also read from the Russian media in different sources that they behaved in a completely unprofessional way, completely chaotic. So which was it, in your opinion?
What I've seen from some of the videos is a mixed bag. And I believe, I've seen some of the actors act like they have special training in weapons and military style tactics, while there are others in that group who have no training whatsoever. One was easily taken down by a civilian at Crocus Mall, simply because, and I listened to an interview I saw on Rio Novosti with this individual, and he states that he saw this individual had been shooting, but he ran out of ammunition, so he was reloading. But when he was reloading, he was distracted because he didn't know what he was doing. Oh. So this individual saw an opportunity, since this man was distracted, to take his weapon away, or kind of move his weapon out of the way, and then he gave him some blows to the head to subdue him. So some of these guys are not professional, and maybe 1 or 2 of them do have special training. Thousands of people have come to pay their respects and lay flowers, light candles, say prayers. Very, very moving. Very, very touching. We also have the Russian Red Cross is also here doing what the Red Cross does worldwide.
Yesterday I went to Crocus. I went on the other side because I wasn't sure if anyone was allowed into the mall area, because it's a big complex. It's not just the Crocus City Hall. There's also a whole bunch of other buildings. One of them is a mall. And I didn't know if they were going to be letting people in to go visit. So I stayed on the other side, right across the river. where I could perfectly see that the Crocus City Hall was still smoking. There was smoke rising right from where everything happened. It was quite visible. And today I drove there at around 11 in the morning, close to 12, and I sat down. I laid down a whole bunch of red roses with a special. I'm not sure what it's called either in English or in Russian, but basically you use it to wrap the roses around, and it's usually for funerals or for these kinds of occasions. So there was a lot of people. There's a lot of people walking because they wanted to pay their respects. They wanted to show the people that did this and the people that planned this that we're united, that there's no way in hell they're going to break our spirit, and these kinds of acts only piss us off even more. They unite us even more. They make the glue, the bond between all the different people in Russia even stickier. So these kinds of events will only piss us off even more. So the people who have been planning this, they probably will understand this moving forward, that this will not scare us. This will enrage us. That's quite important.
People have already donated more than 1 trillion rubles for victims, and have a number of 11,822 people have donated over 4,600 liters of blood and 1,100 liters of plasma. The Moscow government has stated that relatives of those who perished will receive 3 million rubles, and every victim in the hospital will receive 1 million. And children who lost their parents will receive a payment every month, and all funeral expenses will be covered by the Russian government.
When horrible things like this happen, people sort of stop and take a closer look and maybe think to themselves, is this really worth it? Is this something we want to be funding? And maybe we should try and figure out a way to bring this to an end.
So that's the site right there, and we have the memorial, and then right next to it here, there's a digital sign. That's also remembering, this tragedy. And I realize now that by seeing the sign above that says Crocus Expo, this is where Sveta and I filmed the welding video. Is Russia technologically advanced?
I think so.
Hopefully you'll show me today.
I'll show you today.
What will you show me?
There is an international exhibition. It's called Welding exhibition. So this is our first time. We're trying to figure it out. We'll find it out and we'll let you know what it is.
So it makes it more personal for me because I'm realizing, not only do I live in the city, not only was it 3 stops away from where I live and raise my kids, but I've actually been working right next to where this happened. Just strange for me. So black, founded in the USSR, and then made in Russia. Very cool. As a kid, I went into the Twin Towers in New York, and I was just a tourist. And then years later, I heard they came down, and for me, that was also strange to know that I was standing inside a building that was, violently destroyed.
We easily remember the failures of our special security forces, but we don't know of their successes because their successes are usually quiet or they end up somewhere in the news and we forget about them. So unfortunately, this was a failure, but it must have been extremely difficult to understand.
Why is the Red Cross here? Because I know, you're ex-law enforcement, so you know these things. I see it, and I'm just thinking, is this in case people, faint or whatever because they're overwhelmed being here, or what?
Well, the Red Cross is an organization that it's a humanitarian organization. They operate worldwide, and this is the Russian Red Cross. And so they're here to provide service in support of this emergency operation here. So they're here to provide whatever services they can. It looks like here at this particular event, they're handing out cookies, hot tea, for not only the first responders that are here, but also for the citizens who have come to this memorial to leave flowers. And so they're just trying to be a source of comfort, a warm friend to people in need. And this is what the Red Cross does. Other emergencies, they might provide meals, they can provide maybe cots, beds for first responders to sleep in. They could also provide cleaning of clothes and response clothes and things like this, just things that most people don't think about when it comes to an emergency. But that's why they're here.
I wonder if the Russian Red Cross is connected to the Red Cross internationally as a company.
That's a very good question.
That'd be interesting to know if they are connected despite, the new Cold War.
I would imagine, and of course I don't know, but I would probably say so, because this is exactly how Red Cross would respond in the United States. Exactly what they have here, that's what we would have in the United States.
If this medical tent, this blow-up tent, is that for beds if people get hurt, or are they just using it to
This could be some
storage?
sort of just a rest area, either for first responders or maybe some construction workers that are here to kind of clean up and mop up. It could be just a place just to come in and rest and relax. Or if somebody does need some sort of medical treatment, they want to be a little bit more comfortable, they could maybe triage them in there.
I've seen so many of these things happen over the years. That's one of the sad things about journalism, is sometimes you have to, spend every day looking at horrific scenes, if it's in Gaza or Donbass, going back to 2014. So I knew exactly what was. I had that horrible sinking again, sort of got ball in my stomach, thinking, "Oh no, this is just horrific."
I spoke to foreigners as well. Do they feel safe? Do Russians feel scared? And if anything, again, everyone is saying that we are grieving, we're not scared, we're united, and we're just getting angry. So, but again, we're not revengeful. We do not operate on this level,
Right.
giving revenge.
What makes Russia a little bit different is that, okay, so you've got this really strong, Christians are sort of a base, they're smaller, but they've got a government and an establishment that is encouraging them. And they've got this institution of the official church, which, is doing a lot to increase this and encourage people to take the faith more seriously, which is obviously the complete opposite of what's happening in the West. So here's hoping that Russia will grow in this respect. But
So, what did he? Because I'm unfortunately I'm ignorant to Orthodoxy. What did he flick on me?
Oh, that's. I was wondering, why are you wet? Can I smell?
Yeah, sure, okay.
Doesn't usually in church they have. I forgot the name. I'm not really. I don't really know much about Orthodoxy. I forgot the name.
Okay, well, you guys can leave a comment and let us know.
Yeah.
It seems like people are more traditional here, but if it's not based on Christianity, I'm not sure where that tradition comes from then. Maybe you have some insight on that, Joe.
Oh, it's definitely based on Christianity.
It is, okay.
But for that whole communist period, there was something they called Soviet morality, which was basically taking the preceding Christian morals and putting them in an atheist context. But one thing that was extremely important to them always, and also over the centuries, was a just society, a fair society. A society where people weren't maltreated and people weren't ground down, and so Russians are always talking about fairness and justness and how important that is in the world. And this comes from people who aren't Christian at all, who have a very sort of Soviet atheist kind of mindset. So there was a lot of decent morality in the Soviet Union too.
They are serving hot tea for everyone who is here to lay flowers because, everyone is trembling, we're nervous, we're grieving. Many people are crying here, so at least with the hot tea we can make each other warmer. And also, у вас печеньки, да?
Да, есть печеньки.
So yeah, they also have some cookies, traditional ones, cookies, sushki. So again, вы волонтер, да?
Да.
Это какой-то Красный Крест? Is it Red Cross?
Нет, Красный
No?
Крест, они сами по себе, а мы...
So no,
Same
it's not a Red Cross, it's a Russian volunteer organization. And если кто-то хочет стать волонтером, куда стоит?
Добро пожалуйста.
Где? Какой сайт?
Добро.ру.
So there is a website, dobro.ru. Dobro is kindness or like kind acts. Dobro.ru, where you can find the list of all volunteer organizations in Russia. And if you want help somehow, become volunteer, you can also go and apply. Это, наверное, только для россиян, да?
Ну да.
So if you are a Russian citizen, then you can, participate.
A lot of people are very, very kind-hearted. I find, again, that's a generalization again, but I almost find there's more of that heartfelt kindness here than I would have seen back home. People just seem to be generally nice like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but it is originally Christian morality, because the communists just took that Christian morality and packaged it in their atheist thing, but they were getting it from, the 800, hundreds and hundreds of years before that, which were Christian.
Thank you so much, by the way, Joseph, for taking time and come here to you, to Eddie, and to every expat who is with us in this dark times. I just met a guy from Venezuela, I met some people from China. There were also notes from Iraq. Again, some notes in Chinese. I saw a note from an Australian guy. So you see, it's actually not just Russia is coming united. It feels like the whole world is, again, good people around the world are actually grieving with us, and we are becoming closer because of this.
He asked me to write a column, an article about what people are saying in the US about this in terms of what the media is saying. And so I looked into it this morning and was expecting a lot of trash talk coming from, the usual suspects, the New York Times and CNN and so on and so forth. And I was somewhat surprised to see that the tone was one of sympathy and empathy. And that a lot of people were expressing, who you'd think would be opponents of Russia, were expressing sadness and outrage. And I thought that was very interesting as a journalist, because what it suggests is that they weren't expecting this, and they didn't have an agenda of trying to, blame it on whoever. And, the New York Times has these, and the Washington Post had these big analyses. And you have to understand, these people, I hate these people and they hate me. Right. And we're mortal enemies. But it was kind of good to see that the response seemed to be really quite human, across the political spectrum.
Please let the lives of these people not gone in vain. Let's let it remind us, every one of us, that as long as we are breathing, we are gifted this amazing gift of life. And even if you're going through some difficulties in your life, just never give up. Don't stop moving. Don't stop fighting.
It's a tragic event. It's a day of mourning. I've been there. I saw the sadness in random people's eyes. I saw how many people were walking through to pay their respects. I heard and saw in video as well how many other people across, not just Russia, but across the planet, how they've been supporting the country and everyone. And it's been an amazing level of support.
Maybe sometimes it is worth to stop, but not to stop, to pause, to think. Maybe there is a sign that if something is not working out for you, maybe just, maybe the timing is not right, but never give up. You have life. It means that you have a purpose.
I don't agree with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and some other people who are saying that everyone, even some Western governments, should be expressing their condemnation, et cetera, et cetera. I honestly, I don't agree with that, because in my mind, if a particular country has put a goal to destroy our society from within in any means possible, then I don't want to hear empty words of support. I don't want to hear empty words of empty condolences. I don't care. I hate those kinds of people.
Having spent over 50 years in America, this unfortunately, is much more commonplace in America. And I've caught myself being somewhat desensitized to it all. And, trying to find that human part of me to process everything. It hits different to Russians because this has not occurred. This is not normal life here. I've gotten accustomed to not having to worry about any of these types of events either. Very safe, very comfortable here. So it's a shock to everyone. But this is not commonplace. This is not normal. And I'm hoping going forward, I'm also hopeful that Russia's security forces will do everything they can to make Russia and its citizens safe.
Everyone else that actually truly does support us and support people who are suffering, I think that their words are welcome. And I'm very grateful that so many people in so many other countries are expressing their condolences.
They kind of like think I'm fine here. I'm dealing with this fine. But on the inside, they're actually hurting. And I've seen a lot of people, for example, get into fights over the last couple of days, squabbles and losing their temper and shouting at each other over nothing that important, just because they're kind of like at the end of the rope. And so I think oftentimes in these situations, people don't realize how hard it is on your internal, sense of fairness and decency. And you kind of aren't used to expressing that kind of sorrow. And that you should be aware of it, and take the extra time and get the extra sleep, and realize that you've taken a serious blow. This is something I learned in journalism covering these military disasters, that it's just it really drags you down. And journalists who don't have a faith-based view of life, and who don't take the time to recuperate, oftentimes have nervous breakdowns.
So Eddie says it is a shift change for the police. It's about 6 p.m. right now. So if you don't live in Russia, that's what Russian police look like.
Coming from a faith background again, I think that's our only comfort. Life doesn't make sense. It's so much hurt, so much pain, so much damage out there. I think people have faith in humanity, and then it gets destroyed. I don't have faith in humanity. I have faith in God, and I recognize we're in a completely fallen world where these things happen. And it shouldn't shake. I mean, it's still disturbing. Obviously, it's very disturbing, but it shouldn't shake you to the core if you have faith in God and you realize that there's something better coming, and this is a fruit of sin. So I would encourage all of these people to seek God in prayer, in His Word, and find meaning in Him. I hope people don't resort to revenge and all these evil thoughts, because it just adds more evil to something that's already been so evil. Seek God, seek forgiveness.
So I thought it would be important to come and see this, and now that I'm here, I feel moved to just say, if you live nearby and you think you can come take a look and pay your respects, I think it's really important and good. I started this channel wanting to do fun things to show that Russia is a normal place, to help ease tensions around the world, and I think it's real important. I wanted to film a little bit today just to show you guys, show the world that again, Russia is a normal place with people that grieve and care and experience loss just like you do. So thanks for watching.
Joe, thank you very much for organizing this. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I think it's so important for people to be able to connect with what's happening here in Russia, and share their grief. Perhaps, I feel really clobbered by this. It's one thing when you read about it happening in a city far away, but when it's in your own, in the city you're living in, and at a place that you've been many times. My wife was considering going to that concert. So when they decided to go somewhere else with a group of girlfriends.